Good morning, guys. Still up here in sunny Queensland. I almost forgot last night that we had a coffee chat scheduled today and that it's actually 1 hour earlier here. So it's 8 a.m. And I am on the very second last day of being here, but busy day in preparation for my half day event over in Brisbane tomorrow. I have got record numbers coming to a half day. Record before was 30. We've got over 40 booked, and it's going to be a bit of a busy day. Thank God I've got Francesca coming up to help me because at an event such as 20 or more, you definitely need a crew person to help you out. So great to see you all coming on board, and just want to make sure that you guys can hear me and see the PowerPoint, which usually is pretty good. And the internet, I can't run this through Periscope because it's way too much on mobile broadband. It would just make me run me dry as it has throughout this whole period here. So let's get this morning started. Yes, and yes. Thanks, Karen. All right. Cool. So please, as I always say, be interactive, write comments, post questions, because the gold comes out when you get your answers to your questions. I certainly can sit here and talk for 30 minutes, no worries, and cover off whatever I think you guys may like to hear. Good morning, Elaine. Nice to see you as well. And yeah, otherwise, yeah, whatever I'm saying, what are you curious about? Because I really don't come prepared to these calls. These calls, as we say, they're a coffee chat. They're quite cash, and I just enjoy getting my week started and getting my energy and mindset into business mode again. But a little bit of a recap as to what's been happening in Brisbane. So, as you guys know, last Monday we launched our UBS Brisbane event, and thankfully Francesca did help me out to get an awesome group of about 30 people we had there. That night, me and Francesca spoke. Then we had lots of casual drinks afterwards. It really was a successful night. And on that evening, I asked the group if there was someone that wanted to take over the leadership in Brisbane, and a couple of people put their hand up. I'll be talking to them this week, and Brisbane will officially have its own UBS night once a month from February through to November. What I'd love for you to help me with, and maybe Elaine, I know you're on the call, is to think about, is there someone in Perth? We really don't have a representative in Perth, and we've got one in pretty much every capital city, Sydney, Canberra starting next year. We've got Adelaide, obviously Brisbane will have someone. So I'd love to know if you know a person who's well connected and would love to, launch a Perth night and then see if they want to keep going, because through the UBS we have so many members in so many different states that from the beginning when we were doing Melbourne, everyone was asking, will you run this in this city or that city? And I really need the help because I don't have many people that I know. So collaboration is huge. I believe, I think Francesca and I did a video last night, and we were speaking about the power of interstate travel when you're running your own business, because it's one thing to connect with people on Facebook, and this is how we start these calls. Actually, we start them by sharing a social media tip, and how to I always pick something different. Then we talk about a topic and a common topic that comes up for discussion. As if you have any questions, so usually sometimes it can go in that direction. And last of all, we finish it in terms of what sort of events are coming up. But back to the social media tip, and that was what. Thanks, Elaine. Elaine's just put. I'll put my thinking cap on. And also speak with Greg and maybe announce at Coaching Connect. Yeah, that'll be good if there's someone that would like to take over a night like that. It gives them a great positioning tool as a leader of a group, and it tends to help grow someone's business because people look up to them, and generally they're the person in first person top of mind when it comes to taking and leading a group. Um, but the social media tips. So what I was going to say is remember, it's lovely to connect with people on social media and to get new connections and to develop those relationships. But the most powerful thing is actually meet people first face to face and then connect with them online, because there's nothing more powerful when someone sees you and hears you and talks to you in the flesh and then becomes a friend or a connection on Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever other social media platform you may be using. I believe the process is 8 times stronger than if you just connect on social media. So, for example, whenever I go out networking or speak at an event such as this, and do all of the different things that I do face to face, it is after those events I immediately connect with people that I've met, and that is actually how I've grown my connections on Facebook. Through not friending anyone just that wants to be a friend with me on Facebook, but physically to have met them, because then when we connect with each other, we actually have had that moment where we have it's spoken or whatever it is. We know each other's flavor and energy, and therefore we know also how to correctly also interact with each other on social media. Now, on social media, certainly you can build relationships without having met people, from all over the country, and that's how I did it when I first started on business. Before I started traveling interstate for the first 3 years, I was just based at home, and certainly picked up clients and built amazing relationships. But now I can see the power and how much faster your business grows if you actually make the effort to travel to places. And one of the other couple of tips we were sharing last night in our video with Francesca was that, when you go interstate, cluster a few events, cluster a few things that you'll be doing. Look out for opportunities around that time that you're going, and generally you will find them. There has not been one time this year, and this year is nearly coming to an end, that I haven't been to Sydney, Adelaide, Brisbane, Perth, wherever it was, and that I only just had one thing. I always have had at least 2, 3, and in Perth I actually had 5 or 6 things to do over a 5-day period. Cool. Um, Elizabeth is saying that I'm breaking up at her end. How is the audio at other people's end? Usually, guys, with GoToWebinar, I actually get a warning if the audio is poor. So if you are having trouble, it might actually be your end and not my end, because GoToWebinar will say your audio is poor, and therefore I'll know. All good in Adelaide. Okay, so it's not me. I always have to remember to say that before a webinar, because I can see Elizabeth has actually dropped out, and it's possibly her internet at her end. Actually, to tell you the truth, the broadband, mobile broadband's been super cool. Like, I've been doing video stuff, and it's been killing me because it's just used up double the data that I would normally use in a month, being away obviously for 10 days and doing quite a lot of business here. But it's been pretty cool, sometimes even better than my home internet, I have to say. We've moved over from Optus to Telstra pretty much fully with everything, except Stuart's waiting for his mobile phone to bypass the what's it called, the contract and all that. Awesome, cool. So okay, so now that we've covered off the social media tip, let's move on to some questions and some new content. So what I would love to know is, what are you curious about knowing? Last week we ran the webinar on how Natasha Denman reveals your plan for success in 2016. And if you didn't get to see it, let me post you the little link inside the chat box so you can access it later. Actually, quite a lot of people, you guys, have re-listened to it. I think we had 100 re-listens that we can see on our YouTube channel of this, because a lot of people missed it, and everyone was just asking and asking about it, and which was really cool, because it did end up being an amazing call, and pretty much nearly sold out of the success planners. I think there's only a dozen or so left. There you go. Karen says, that was so good. Love the annual planner. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yes, it's been a lot of different people that ask me, oh, tell me what's in it and all that. Now that I have got the recording of that webinar, I can just, everyone that buys it, I send them the recording, and that way they can understand how to use it properly. And a few people have been asking me, are you going to reprint some more, and can you print some other colors? And unfortunately, no, I won't be. I won't be printing anymore. This was just an exercise for myself, plus my 199 nearest and dearest friends and people in my community, because I knew people would want it, and it has been going like hotcakes. So that it's definitely going to be sold out. I reckon well before the Christmas season hits. As soon as I get home, I've got to pack up all these planners that have been ordered while I've been here. Karen's saying I'm using the color coding on the annual planner. That's fantastic. And how are you color coding? Are you color coding the way I suggested, or are you color coding in a different way, or are you doing it throughout the whole? With highlighters. Cool. So highlighters mean different types of events and things like that. They'll when you're blocking out. I'm just curious because I always like to know. Oh, cool. Excellent, excellent. So that's great to hear, because that sort of gives you in your mind what's going on, and when is it happening and things like that. Actually, guys, I've got to go back in back home. When I get back home, I have to plan out really my big annual calendar, which I can't really take anywhere because it's a big whiteboard. Is where I got to set out all these other new speaking gigs and opportunities and things like that, which I'm excited. I love planning the next year, although by the end of planning it, I get so overwhelmed looking at all the things that I've now committed to doing. But one thing at a time. It never all happens all at once. It may look huge and overwhelming, but when you think about it in the bigger scheme of things, it is a full year, and you're just looking at the different things that are coming up. So always, as I said, the key thing is when you schedule stuff, make sure you commit to them and don't cancel or delay and keep pushing things out. Um, I never have, as I said, I have never canceled an event. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention is collaboration. It really has been in the last six to 8 months, especially. I have collaborated with quite a lot of people, and it just becomes easier and easier to set up. So, with collaboration, you got to look at it in a way, and you could call this a strategic alliance or whatever it is. But you really have to think about how is the situation going to be a win-win for each party, and or actually a win-win-win, because a win for the people that are being served by you or you're speaking in front of, a win for the organizer, the person promoting you, and a win for you because it's going to move you and propel you forward. So, what I have made an effort, I guess, focused effort in doing this year is looking out for people who have got large networks and are quite influential within their network, and connecting with those people. Now, sometimes you may not have a huge network or be able to, it's like what I bring to that relationship. If I can't do the same thing back for that person, what is how can I make this a win-win? Well, always think about what is it that other person actually needs, because everyone needs something. They may not need to be introduced to to new people. They may just need something completely different, or perhaps what you're bringing and the flavor and the topic, if you're going to speak in front of people, may be exactly what they would love for their audience to hear and for you to present to them. So, you don't necessarily have to be like for like, same list of database to do like a swap, or they have a huge network and are quite influential to do that. It certainly helps. So while you're building your network and you becoming an influential person within your surroundings and wherever you are, at the same time, think about interesting ways that you can bring value to other people that you can collaborate with. And number one rule in collaboration or approaching a collaboration is to make sure that you build a relationship first. It's not about going up to someone and say, "Yeah, I'd be interested in speaking at your event. Are you looking for someone?" yes, we're always looking for speakers for our events, but I'm not going to put someone up on my stage until I feel like I have some kind of a relationship, or I have checked them out at least, because I don't want in any way for that person to not make me look good in front of my audience. So relationship building is actually the longest part of collaboration. Finding the win-win outcome is actually comes about um, uh, uh, the win-win outcome comes about because of the relationship. Because once you get to know someone and really, really know them, then you know what's important to them and what will make them say yes to a possible collaboration. And then, or together, you may be able to brainstorm because you've got the relationship first. Then together, you may be able to brainstorm what is it that you can do together to help each other out. Because at the end of the day, once you become friends with someone, that is the thing that will make someone say people love doing business or helping a friend. um cool. Karen says just love it as I'm going to Sydney. Great. And Karen says 16th to 20th of April going to Sydney and looking to do a speaking engagement while over there, and also on the 3rd of December coming from Adelaide. Are you going to Sydney twice, Karen? Working on a video to introduce myself. Cool, cool. And what sort of topics? So tell me, Karen, what kind of stuff can you speak on? Let me know, because I don't. Who knows? I may be able to think of someone that runs events in Sydney and things like that. If you also haven't done a speaker bio, I will actually I'll show you guys. Be joyful to raise your vibration. Okay, so this is okay. What I would say is have a outcome focused topic, because a lot of people out there will not know what raising their vibration actually means. So, if they raise their vibration, what is it that is going to, what can they achieve if they raise their vibration? Can they start attracting more money in their life? Can they attract better health? Can they be more happy in their relationship? So your topic needs to be around happier in their daily routine. But what specifically? Because daily routine for some people can mean all business. Daily routines for some people can mean, being a parent, just a parent. So being outcome focused, it's like when they finish speaking, when they finish listening to me, what goal has my audience gotten tools and tips and tricks to be able to achieve? So what I'll show you now is, I'll just find it on my computer, but I'll show you my speaker bio, because my speaker bio is something that I submit to potential people who may have asked me to speak, and they go, well, what topics are you going to speak on? Or perhaps I go in with it and say, hey, this is what I do. I've helped such and such. Like, I've got a lot of credibility right now. I can just say to people, I'm coming to your town. If you're looking for a speaker, this is what I do, and I say, and I present myself. So my little speaker bio looks like this. I've had it like little designed by someone. I've got a couple of credibility statements, so not credibility statements, but my short version of my bio. Obviously, my books are on here that I have published myself, and then the three key topics. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Make it bigger, make it bigger. Okay, so then the three key topics that I can speak on. So, author your way to business success. So, it's got a very specific outcome. So, when you finish listening to me, you will learn how you too can author your way to business success. And mompreneur secrets to a profitable business from home. So, what is it that mompreneurs can do and how they can juggle babies and all that sort of stuff, and the ultimate expert positioning formula. So these are the three topics that I would go. And if you can notice, is they all have hypnotic language and hypnotic writing through them, because people, when you read what it is, you go, "Ooh, I want to know how to do that," right? So, how to position a book lucratively for your brand, building leverage with your book, the secret to writing your book in 48 hours, So all of these statements arise curiosity as to what people will learn when they have finished listening to me. And then I've got contact details at the bottom. It looks professional. It's got my personal branding, and it's got that very strong little short bio that grabs people. So whenever someone asks me or introduces me to someone else as a potential speaker, I send this out. So Karen, I suggest that you come up with something similar to that avail, and you'd be considered, if because you're making the job of the other person who potentially will put you up on in front of their people. You're making their job a lot easier. The best way to make a collaboration work, or to get someone to do something for you, is to think of ways of how you can just make their whole life a lot easier. That's the secret, really. And a lot of the time, I would say 9 out of 10 times, you will get a yes, because they just go, okay, I'll just plug this in, do this, promote it, and I'm good to go. Rather than them having to chase you. And unfortunately, in this world, because I've obviously run a lot of events myself, and I have had speakers that I have put on at my events. And unfortunately, it is very, very rare that you find a person who will actually make your life easier. A lot of the time, I've had to guide people. I need this from you, I need that from you, and so on and so forth. And if they just did all the things that, one click away, get them all the information, and that's it. All right, she's saying, awesome, thank you. Perfect. Let me just delete some of these comments. So, what other questions have we got? We've got 9 minutes to go, guys. This half an hour does fly by so quickly, and I love sharing with you. So we've covered off a little bit tips and tricks around interstate travel, how to ensure that you have a cluster of events so you're making your trip really worthwhile, how to approach people for speaking gigs, how to build those collaborations which are reliant on that relationship building to start off with. Um, Elizabeth says, how many times do you speak to people in a week? Do you mean like speaking events, Elizabeth, or do you mean like just any types of conversations? I'm guessing that you mean speaking events. And yes, yes, and getting out there networking. So my rule is to be at 2 events every week on average. Some weeks I'll have more, some weeks I'll have less. But overall, if I counted it all up for the year, I would say I'll have gone to an average of 2 events every week. And then speaking gigs, look, I don't have a set amount. I have to have 2 or 1 this week. It happens when it happens. But when I had a bit of a look at last month at how many times I have spoken at either other people's events or my own, so I count me hosting my own event. I'm filling the room. I'm speaking, and then speaking at other people's events. I calculated that I had done about 62 up until a month ago. Now since then I've done more, so I reckon I'll be cracking through 70 for the year, so far in terms of speaking at events. So yeah, the magic number of 2 was what I wanted. Yeah. So sometimes those speaking events can count in as my events that I'm interacting with people. So certainly, if I'm not speaking, then I look out to go out networking, just a normal event where I'm just a participant. But if I'm speaking, a lot of this year, what has happened is because I'm getting a lot of speaking gigs, and those are the best ones and the ones I've always choose over just standard networking event because I'm being put in the expert chair. Then this year I have found how it's weighed up is that where it used to be, let's say 80% me just being a participant in a networking event, when I started out, and only about 20% of me speaking at events. Now this year is, I would say, 80%, if not, maybe 70% that I'm the speaker, and 30% that I'm just a participant. And that just happens because I've built so many relationships with these people who actually host a lot of events that I've attended in the past, and now is the time that they're going, well, Nat, we want you to speak here next month or whatever it is, and they actually come to me. So a lot of the time people come to me for speaking, rather than me having to chase them. And that changes as well from the start of business. Um, uh, uh, but uh, Elizabeth says, okay, but if I do the magic number of 2 outreaches a week should work. Totally. You start with that. I get what you're saying. Cool. Excellent. So our last section of our call is to go through our upcoming events. Unless some other comment comes up, which I'll certainly answer, I'll go through what's coming up in terms of events coming up, guys. So Elaine says, is it good? Hang on, let me just read through. Is it a good idea to hand out the flyer for speaking when out networking, or only if they say they're interested in having you come along as a speaker? I would suggest, Elaine, that you certainly have a conversation with the leader. Perhaps go to an event a couple of times. Unless it's a once-off event, then obviously, I mean, I don't know when the next one would be, so how would you apply as a speaking thing? But if it's a regular event, I would turn up 2 or 3 times, check out what they're like, connect with the leader, and then on the third or fourth time, you may say, look, if you're looking for some alternate speakers, I'm happy to put my hand up. Here's some information of me when I speak. If any of this takes your interest, please let me know and we can book a date. And always, always, always have your diary then and there ready to go. Don't even don't even say, oh, you email me with dates and all that sort of stuff. If they're there and you're there, you lock it in and it happens. That is the key when you're speaking with someone to actually make it happen and not just go, I'll email you, I'll let you know. All right. Trust that answered the question. So, a few events coming up. So, let me just get you some links in the chat box. So, we've got the Ultimate Brand Accelerator Masterclass, which you guys know went off crazy, amazing a couple of weeks ago in Melbourne. The next one is scheduled for March 22nd and 23rd, which is obviously still a few months away, but because it's a 2-day event, it is one that you would want to pre-schedule from now, so to make sure it happens. We have got UBS Melbourne, Sydney and Adelaide on the horizon. Elizabeth already booked via this link for Melbourne last week. I saw Elizabeth. It is not set up with our current speaker. It may still have the October event up there. However, the bookings are being they will be registered for the November one, which is on the 26th, with the amazing Rosemary McCallum, who is very, very, I call her the Wayne Dyer of the Australian, or the female version of Wayne Dyer. So she'll just wow everyone. So if you do want to book for UBS Melbourne, do it through that link. Doesn't matter that it says October, the booking will come through as November. We're just getting the Facebook guide to adjust the page with Rosemary's picture and everything like that. Sydney's on the same date. Unfortunately, I don't have links. Let me just open up Facebook in case Sam has messaged me. I think I inboxed her before and I said, what's your link for bookings? No, Sam and Linda haven't messaged me. But if you do want the links for those, I think usually Sam and Linda will post today's events day on our page. So look out for those posts, and those are the dates. And if you can't find them, please email me, and I'll once I get them to send it to me today, I will be able to forward it on to you. And last but not least, as you guys know, this coming Thursday is our VIP marketing day at my house, and there is 2 spots still left. We're going ahead no matter what. For 10 people, we're going through and unpacking their whole year ahead. Calendar, the whiteboard calendar from Officeworks comes with the day, as well as meals, lunch, morning tea, afternoon tea, all of that. It's 9 to 5 in Diamond Creek. And this is a second date because of the last month that we did two it was like just overwhelmingly, people wanted to come along to a second date, so I opened this up, and the investment is $597. So for that one, you have to message me, you have to just call me if you want to take part of it. Otherwise, we are all good to go on Thursday. So, my wonderful people, let me just see if there's a question. Fantastic. There's just good thank you from Elaine. That's fine. Perfect. So we're right smack bang on at 9:30 Melbourne time, 8:30 here on the coast, Gold Coast. I trust this has been valuable and you have picked up a few tips around how to get some speaking gigs and collaborate and traveling interstate. Always cover off so much by the end of it, even though I come totally unprepared. All right, you guys, have an awesome Monday, awesome week ahead. I will go smash up my event in Brisbane tomorrow, and I'll be back in Melbourne on Wednesday. So if any of you ordered that later, I will be sending a whole lot on Wednesday. All right, have a great week. Bye, guys.